It's the end of January, and I know this finds a lot of people already giving up on any resolution, any goal that they've set for themselves as we started out the new year, as we started out 2026. It's hard to believe that a month has passed, but here we are. It's the last week of January, and for most people, in fact, I heard this on the radio a couple weeks ago, that like 2 Fridays ago was like the official day of quitting your resolution. Like this was the quitter's day, which who makes up a day? Like that's what they said. They're like, this is like the day, I'm not, maybe not saying it correctly, but it was like, this is the day where people quit their resolutions. And it was already like halfway only through the month.
Yeah. So people can't even make it 2 weeks.
Correct. And so, that, got me thinking, like, we see this all the time with people, in which you probably don't hear us on the podcast. We don't do a whole podcast on setting a New Year's resolution or setting a goal. That's why we do, like we did our podcast about just reviewing the past and then looking forward to the future, but not setting it to a time or date, just, assessing and then moving forward. And so here we are at the end of January. Can you assess where you are and move forward based on whatever goals or resolutions that you did set for yourself, and what that could look like moving forward instead of being in an all or nothing mindset?
Yeah. I've watched people make and talk about resolutions, and they barely get off the ground with them. And I get it, because they go through this process of writing this, list of things down. I'm going to change starting XYZ. It doesn't even have to be New Year's. It doesn't matter. Whenever people come about this idea of change, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm writing this list down, 10 things, 12 things, and starting whatever date, here we go. We're off. And I'm going to crush this, and it's going to change my life, and it's going to be great. And in theory, that sounds fantastic, and it's good to know people are at least thinking that way. But the real issue is it's willpower that they're going to try to run off of, and we know that doesn't work.
Yeah, and
willpower only lasts probably 2 weeks. That's exactly.
That's why they have the quitter's day. But
quitter's day.
And I'm even going to just say something really quickly about that. I highly doubt people actually write them down.
It's true.
I think that was just, I think they think about it, and they think about it nonstop on repeat.
It's true.
And that's might be one of the reasons they quit so quickly, is because they actually can't actually see what they want to work on, but yet they're thinking about it literally nonstop, or at least at the beginning of, a new week or something like that.
Yeah. And that alone is overwhelming. To just think about something over and over and over is just an overwhelming thing.
And then another thing that you said is, on top of probably not writing it down, is the 10 to 12 things that they wanted to work on that you said, like, if you have 10 to 12 things, are you really going to do all 10 to 12 of them?
Yeah, they're going to try like hell, and they're going to do it for 7 days.
It's going to come with a lot of, I'm never going to do this again. I'm giving this up. I'm never going to have things that I actually enjoy again. And so the language they're using, the thought process they've created I'm overwhelmed talking about it. I don't even want to think about it, because I've been in that position before, and it's gotten me exactly nowhere.
Yeah, along with so many others who just try this, and the thing is, they don't know what else to do, though. If nobody's taught you or showed you a better way, you just go off of like, well, this is what everybody else does, and those really strong people and those super motivated people and the disciplined, and they're the ones that make it out alive, and it's just the rest of us just sink while the 2%ers swim. And then, I'll just try to be that person again next time.
Yeah, and that
wasn't my time.
Yeah. And it leads to another problem right there that you just said, the comparison. Now it's, like we talked about last week, I should be able to do this. I know what to do. I'm just not doing it. So in all of this thinking and listing and creating more problems and solutions, it's no wonder that we have a National Day of Quitters.
Yeah. If I was to do that with anything in my life, like if all of a sudden January 1st, I said, we're going to do these 12 things starting next week, and just flip everything down, it wouldn't work here either. It wouldn't work for me. It wouldn't work for you. It wouldn't work for Josh. it wouldn't work for the business. Like none of it would work.
work for zero processes.
Yeah.
Zero systems would run efficiently if that was always the goal, to overhaul it and expect it to run perfectly.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, we've tried it in smaller doses and it didn't work because we didn't come up with the process. We're just like, oh, great idea. Let's do this thing. Go. And we didn't think about all the logistics of it.
We've never done that. We've never done that.
Yes, we have.
No, I know. Just trying to laugh about
Probably more than once.
I'm just trying to laugh about it now, which was probably where we recorded last week about why it's okay to ask for help, because now we do have systems and processes that run really, really smoothly. In fact, one of the processes and systems that we created, can you guys believe 3 years ago, we created the transformation program? It's going to be 3 years old this year.
Yeah. Which is wild.
It is.
But it's pretty awesome.
And while we've worked each year to perfect it and to keep making it better, the whole premise of the program hasn't changed a bunch.
Nope.
It's still what we're calling the foundation for anybody who works with us to start working on that process, that system, to identify what they want and how they can get there in a sustainable way.
Yeah. And I think that's, what we want to try to share with you is what does our system look like? What does becoming healthier with us look like, to where we help people take that list of things that you want to do and stop willing your way through it with willpower and create a system and a process behind each one of those steps and put it in layers to where you do know what you're doing and you can be confident that you know how. And is it going to run 100% smooth for the rest of your life? No, but man, as soon as something breaks, it's easy to fix.
Yeah,
and that's the best part about it.
Yeah.
We can easily identify where people, when something goes a little wrong, life hits, stress hits, we're able to just go back to this foundation and we see the crack right away. And it's like, boom, we can get right back on it versus trying to figure that out, which is hard because that's what we do the first 12 weeks is figure those things out. And then once we find all the cracks in the foundation, then it's easy to see when that one pops up and we can go repair it pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I think the best part about that too is we're talking about this time frame of 12 weeks, which there's
it's roughly.
Yeah. But my point is we didn't create that as like that's like that's the number. No, that's the beginning. And so no matter what leaks we identify in the first 12 weeks, the cool part is as you continue and you identify maybe other leaks that come up in life, it's so much easier to go back to that system and that process and be like, I know exactly how to start by fixing this. And you're not always reinventing and recreating and trying to come up with that new list. It's a process that can be applied literally anywhere.
I think that's the thing I like to stress with people is it's not a 12-week program. It's a 12-week learning the process.
Yeah.
And this is a program for life.
Yes.
And that's the part I like.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's break down what, it's really built on 4 main components. Let's start with the nutrition. Josh, why don't you take that part, simplifying nutrition.
Sure.
Give where we start with on simplifying nutrition.
So the first thing I like to talk about with people is we don't subtract things from what we're doing. We add positive, and then we focus on adding positive things to our routine, and the negatives take care of themselves. It's when you're dealing with your kids, and if you tell them there's an unwanted behavior and you don't want them to do it, you say, don't do that ever again, or don't eat that ever again. What are they going to do? They're going to run off and do it.
Hoard it in their closet, eat it in private.
Right.
Never done that.
So it starts by adding positive foundations, just like, everything else. So we're going to focus on where are you at with your water? Can we drink more water? So we start by adding water, and each person might be different, but we're getting our water in each day. Then maybe it's fruits. How much fruit are you eating? Can we get to 2 pieces of fruit a day? Maybe it's 1 now. Maybe it's 2 in a couple of months, but we're adding fruit to our routine. Then we move on to veggies. Can we get more veggies? And then protein, adding protein to our routine. And again, everybody's different, but we're getting regular added protein to our diet. And then what I think is probably the most important, because it helps take care of all the rest of those is, are we eating the majority of our meals at home? Because you can just do so much better and have so much more success if you're doing this at home as opposed to trying to do it in the drive-through line.
Yeah, and that's it. When it comes to building this nutritional foundation, that was it.
Yeah.
Fruits, veggies, water, protein, eat at home.
Simple.
Simple. I hope that sounds simple to people.
And that's probably what surprises people the most, is that how simple building the foundation that we do in this program. It's designed to be simple. It's designed to be easy. It's designed for us to return to it whenever things feel off, and it helps us get back on track.
Sure.
So it simple.
Yeah. What I like is, just like you said, we can detect those cracks in the foundations. You go back through somebody's, past couple of weeks, and you're looking and you're like, maybe they're not happy with where they are right now. And you look back and you go, have you been drinking your water? Have you been eating your fruits? Have you been, doing these things?
Simple example is like somebody comes in and says, I've been drinking too much soda. All you have to ask is this question: how much water have you drank? Mm-hmm. And they're, well, no, I haven't been drinking my 64 ounces of water.
Oh, I stopped doing that.
Oh, whoops. So it's not that we have to actually go correct the soda. We don't correct the soda problem. Right. We correct the water problem.
Well, like you shared a couple of weeks ago with you had a sweet tooth and you realized that you had slacked on your fruits.
Yeah.
So what'd you do?
Ate more vanilla ice cream. Oh, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
Finished the vanilla ice cream. Then I went back to my fruits. So everything will always come back to those 5 components when somebody's having a struggle with nutrition. Once they learn that that's the foundation, it's like, no matter what they come up with, it's like, it'll go back to one of those 5. Mm-hmm. Not eating, you're not eating at home. Well, okay, let's get back to those how many dinners at home. So that's one of the 4 big components of, our transformation program. Tina, you want to talk about the workout portion?
Sure.
Exercise.
Sure.
Is that important to people?
There's 2 pillars of the movement. Actually, we've got strength training, right? We've got that where we encourage people to be strength training. If you're working with us, cool part is we take care of that. And our workouts, one of our biggest compliments we get on our workouts is how people are like, I don't have to think about it. It's always different. I'm always enjoying it. Compliments at the end of a workout include, wow, that went by really fast, or wow, I really like that, or wow, we haven't done that before and it felt really good, or wow, I did that a long time ago and now I'm stronger at it, right? So try to keep that portion easy for you. You just got to come in, right? That's the hardest part though, sometimes showing up. And then we've got our intentional movement part of it, which is what happens outside of the gym. And this is the only scientific thing you'll ever hear me say ever. So intentional movement, what does that mean? That means that we're intentionally moving our bodies. We're going for a walk, a swim, a jog, a bike ride, indoors, outdoor. I don't care. We're doing a yoga video at home intentionally. What doesn't count is our NEAT movement. Here's my science lesson for the day.
Oh, yay.
Non-exercise activity thermogenesis.
Wow.
Hopefully I got that right.
That was a big word.
So mowing the lawn, neat. Parking your car at the end of the parking lot so you walk further in the store, really neat. Cleaning your house, that's neat. So we want to include neat in our day, but we also want to include intentional movement. And that's where it's more intentional and not a chore.
And
it's not on the golf course either. I think golfing is neat.
Yeah, golfing is neat. However, I do intentionally walk the course sometimes.
So I think then that would be more intentional, but otherwise...
Most of the time I get in a cart.
Otherwise, I think...
Some days, every so often, I decide I want to walk the hills out the country club. And one of the most important pieces of the intentional movement isn't about the heart rate, isn't about building endurance. It is 100% about stress relief.
Yes.
Because damn, everybody's stressed out right now.
And that's
that's an everybody thing.
Yeah, and that's why we purposely say it's intentional, because it's something intentional for you. And I'm always encouraging my clients to schedule it just like they would a workout and time block it into their day so they are not left at the end of the day wondering how they're going to fit it in. That's something in another pillar that I think Jeff's going to cover, but we're going to take care of getting that into our schedule.
One more thing on that is I make sure to have people choose something that you like for the intentional movement. Because
100%.
If I tell you to go walk every day and you don't like to walk, are you likely to do it? So choose things that you like.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. But, like you said, exercise, if it's going to do, the one guarantee it's going to do for everybody is relieve stress.
100%.
It is a guarantee that it will relieve stress in some fashion. So that is the most important reason that we encourage that intentional movement and taking that time for yourself to relieve your stress so you can be better for everybody else around you. So what's the last part, Tina, that you said I was going to talk about?
Habits and routines.
Oh, yes. Habits and routines.
Remember I was saying like, you're going to get that intentional movement into your routine.
I knew what you were talking about.
Okay. I was just making sure. It was like a pop quiz.
So habits, routines, accountability, and kind of and mindset all intertwined together. It's probably the most difficult piece to explain to people other than without truly showing. But the reality is with habits and routines, again, instead of willpowering our way through shit and this list of things we want to do, we want to take that list of 10 or 12 things, write them down so we have them, we know what we're looking at, and ask yourself, if I did those 10 or 12 things, what would my life look like? And if the answer is pretty damn good, we can proceed. If anything's missing, then we need to get it in there. But you need to look at it and say, how does my life look if I do these things day in, day out, or week in, week out? And if the answer is really good, then okay, now how do we make that happen? And it's starting with one or two of those items on the list. And I like the Dave Ramsey approach on this one. Start with the easiest ones first. Everybody always wants to go straight to the jugular. Let me pick the one that I struggle with the most. And if you do that, sometimes the one that you struggle with the most takes 3 or 4 weeks to get it down, and it takes too long to get momentum going. Versus if I pick the easy ones, like, cool, I did it for a week. I drank my water, 5 days, 64 ounces. That wasn't so bad. Cool. Let's add something to that next week. Let's add that piece of fruit this week. And then it's 64 ounces and a piece of fruit. Do that for a week. 100%, 5 days a week. Got it. Now you get to add a third thing, and you just start to see this momentum building, and you start building confidence in yourself that, like, I can stick with things. I'm not a quitter by January 14th.
I'm not a quitter.
I don't need to do this on willpower. We create a system. And the whole time, whenever we add a new thing to somebody's list, what's the process behind it? Because 64 ounces of water sounds simple. How are you going to do it? Because there's days where people are like, oh shit, it's 8 p.m. and I've only had 24 ounces. Well, are you going to chug 40 ounces every night before you go to bed? You might do it once or twice, but after you wake up in the middle of the night twice because you had to pee, that won't work. So it's, maybe I have to have 12 by lunch, 24 by, set times, or change, for me, I drink 2 or 3 glasses of water with each meal. Like, I don't drink between meals, so I just chug water basically 3-4 times a day.
And this is where the accountability and having a coach and a guide really comes into play. Because what if I sit down with Jeff and I'm drinking 0 ounces of water? Jeff is not going to suggest that you drink 64 ounces of water your first week, right? So when we're building out those habits, that list of 10 to 12 things, whatever they are, we're identifying what makes you feel good, what makes you feel your best. We're not picking this list from, whatever somebody else is doing or what the latest and greatest fad is. This is about really looking at you, your values, your vision for yourself, what becoming the best version of yourself truly looks like to you, and then helping you implement that process. And that's why it makes it easy for this to be a foundation for your lifestyle, and it makes it easy for you to return to it. So the goal is always to keep it really simple and that you feel good about what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, that's the perfect summary of, the best way that we can help people achieve their goals is doing this system. And it doesn't matter what your goals are. You need these things, these 4 pieces. If you can do these 4 pieces, everything else in your life will probably fall into place. If you can break it down and be patient. That's probably the hardest thing, is having to tell people to trust this process, because it is not the fastest.
But overall, the relief, I think that the relief that I've witnessed people feel when they know the process doesn't look as complicated as they made it, as they were telling themselves a story about what it would look like to become their best version, all of a sudden there's a lot of stress relief just to knowing like, hey, I've got a guide, I've got accountability, and I have somebody who's going to help me look for the ways to find what I truly want, instead of just thinking that something that I thought I wanted when I was younger, or something that I thought I saw somebody else had. It all becomes now very centered and focused on what makes you tick, what makes you want to come to the gym, go for a walk, eat better. Like, why are those things important to you? And that's what we help uncover, the layers that we are helping you peel back. You can't do that alone. You can.
Good luck.
You can, maybe you can, but I can tell you that working with somebody is going to make that process seem way less overwhelming.
Yeah. The only way it's really probably going to work for yourself is if you've already been through it in a different way. And then you've learned the tools of what you need to look for internally to help you with it. But if you've never been through any type of coaching or that system, it's going to be tough to truly implement by yourself. But certainly welcome you to try, because it'll be better than willing your way. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
If nothing else, try to take your list. If you've dropped off already, get your list. Well, write your list down that was in your head, write it down and give it another shot, but try to just slow the process, because one thing at a time is a hell of a lot better than zero. And that's where a lot of people are already at, or 0 steps forward right now. So if you have any questions, let us know.